Welcome back to another exciting episode with your two ebullient, scintillating, and resilient hosts, Anika and Val. And Val and Anika. Val, how are you doing today, girl?
I'm just in pure awe of your ability to come up with such unique and tasteful adjectives to describe us and introduce us at the top of every episode.
I mean, again, if it's not gonna come from you, it's gonna come from me for the both of us, girl. I got you. We are here. We are self positive. We are positive all around. Testing negative, but staying positive. Hey yo, COVID. But
Well, it's still to be determined with me. I'm feeling quite under the weather.
I'm so sorry. Maybe I'm pretty sure a 3 month vacation in a villa in Mallorca might do you good.
So true. I would do anything for that, but I guess end my own relationship. So, I guess I wouldn't do anything, but I would do just about anything else.
You hear that, folks? Val will do almost anything else aside from breaking up with her boyfriend for a chance to spend 3 months in a villa in Mallorca. So, serious inquiries only at Villa Birds on Instagram, at Villa Birds Pod on Twitter, or at Villa Birds on TikTok if you want to send us a video of you dancing and offer for Val to come and join you in your villa in Mallorca.
Yes, hit me up, hit my line. I got tons of modes of communication, and you guys know where to find me. Which leads me to my next point, guys. Come on, this segue. You have to follow us on
Ooh,
everything, guys. We are so active online, and dare I say, we were fucking popping off on Twitter today, okay? And it's so important that you guys follow us there because we
absolutely.
live tweet. We have so much fun live tweeting, throwing up memes, throwing up our commentary. So you can find us on Twitter at Villa Birds Pod. Not only that, we post our best tweets, our best reels, some audio snippets of the podcast onto our Instagram at Villa Birds. And lastly, on TikTok, I recap what happened in the villa every morning the morning after, okay? Not the podcast. That's a different podcast, but every day the morning after I recap what happened in the villa that night at Villa Birds, okay? So follow us everywhere, guys. We are posting every day so consistently, and we're so excited about this year's villa adventures. Guys, I told you I'm
Villa
sick.
Adventures is right.
I'm spaced out. Every whatever, it's an adventure to go into the villa.
She made it sound like a children's book, y'all. All right, well, with that, we have got 2 new days to recap and dissect and analyze
I think we actually have
tonight.
3 days.
We have 3 days to dissect and analyze tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I am also unwell at this moment in time. However, let's dive right in. Val, give us the tea and I'll lead us into this week.
Okay, awesome. So on Friday, we were left off with the cliffhanger that Gemma's ex was coming into the villa, okay? That was crazy. He landed and he did cause us quite a stir. He took Afia and Paige on a date. And then he was like very purposeful about not showing his face, but Gemma clocked that so quick regardless. She was like, that is my ex. That is my ex. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Um so then he introduced himself to all the girls. He's very into getting to know Ekansu at this point, getting to know Paige. Later on, him and Gemma have a little chat, and it's just kind of friendly vibes. And Gemma generally takes it pretty well. She's not kind of freaking out or anything of the sort, but someone who is freaking out is Luca, which we'll get into as the days progress. I would say all the couples are kind of up and down. Some days they have highs, some days they have lows, but Something else that happened this week while we were gone was that the next night after Jax popped into the villa, he had to pick one of the single girls to couple up with and send the other one home. And unfortunately, to nobody's surprise, that happened to be Afia. Sad to see her go, but she didn't come on as strong as Ekansu did. So I feel like it was her time, and everyone knew. Moving on from that, the next day, after Jax is kind of coupled up with Paige now, Ekansu feels that Davide's interest in her has dropped. Tasha's interest in Andrew is back up. Amber and Dami are plateauing, and Akena and India are making breakfast and then confused about what they are. And then finally, we have two new bombshells come in on Tuesday night's episode, which is when we're recording right now. And I would say that's what we missed on Love Island.
Thank you for that easy breezy, beautiful cover girl recap from the past 3 days, Val. Yeah, I thought it'd be fun if I'm not sure if you want to start with analyzing Friday further. I feel like Friday leads into Monday pretty well, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just good to start off with Monday, Tuesday. Any thoughts?
Yeah, take it away.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm feeling a little scientific today. I don't know why. So I've got 3 categories for our couples, and they're going to be states of matter. They're going to be solids, liquids, and airs.
Girl, I once again have to insist and remind you that I am the artistic end of this podcast, the branding person, and the artist. So I'll let you do this once, but I might be a little confused, okay?
Well, no, like I don't know. I'm thinking of these like new things. Also, this was just a shower thought. I was like, oh my goodness, like it's so crazy how water is like liquid, and when it like is really hot, it turns into air, and then you can also freeze it. Like I don't know. So
I'm so
I thought it'd
intrigued to
be
see what
fun
you're
to
going to
like
say.
you know what I mean? Like, but this is the things that these are the things that make us engaging, right? Like nobody says this stuff on a podcast. So anyway,
Yeah.
so we start this week. We've got our what is it, 6 couples? So solids, and feel free to argue with me on these.
Mm.
I think we have 2 semi-solid to solid couplings, which I think were okay
Mm.
on Monday. India and Akena, I'm feeling relatively solid. They're still trying to figure their things out. I definitely think that there's a lot of room for growth and conversation that needs to happen for them both to kind of be settled with one another. But
Mm.
that kiss, the like open conversation, the fact that he was making her breakfast and wanted to surprise her with it, like these are all things that you don't just do if you don't like somebody.
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like they're confused, but I definitely think it kind of likes India, and I definitely think the new boy's coming in is gonna make him step it up for her.
Okay,
So
interesting
that's my
that you put
first
them as solid.
solid.
Okay.
I put them as solid. The only there's another couple that I put as solid for now, and I'm putting Dami and Amber as solid for now because of the fact that their bond is definitely growing. I feel like the date night was very, very cute. I definitely think Dami is more into Amber than Amber is into him, or maybe she just keeps her cards close to her chest. I know we've talked about this before, but she really doesn't reveal how she's feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
TBD, but I thought that the tennis date was super cute, really wholesome. We got a lot of good feedback on the tweets that we're having about them yesterday. And so I really think that, I don't know, I put them in a bit of a solid state as well.
I would agree with
Thoughts?
that one, yes.
Okay. All right. Solid. Literally. Then the next, okay, so now I have semi solid into liquid. I definitely think that Andrew and Tasha are like semi solid. I mean, they're okay, sort of. We have an instance where Jax pulls Tasha for a chat, and it seems like Andrew isn't really too concerned, as in the fact where he's not feeling insecure in and of himself. We definitely see him feel a little weird from, the whole experience of Jax pulling Tasha aside and perhaps speaking to her more, but he has a really good poker face, says he doesn't care. And you know what? Maybe the man doesn't. So that was our Monday tea on Andrew and Tasha. I'm calling them semi solid, leaning towards solid for
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
All right. Next, we have liquid. Liquids. Liquids, I'm thinking Jackson Page. Every single time Jack does like a um what are those conversations called where they're doing it's like a testimonial but not really.
A confessional.
Yes, a confessional. There we go. I was like, testimonial is not the right word here. Thank you. Get the confessional. Jax always calls Paige cute. And if you're really like, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like he's not like dying to be with her. Like there's no kind of like not even reciprocation, but just any sort of attempt or effort in trying to woo her. And I think it's because he knows that she is relying on him to stay in the villa for now. Problem is, I
Mhm.
think she actually likes him. She's always kind of commented on how attractive he is and, how sweet he is and blah, blah, blah. I just don't know if they're going to last if, let's say, two girl bombshells enter the villa later this week. So I'm putting them in the liquid for now. They're safe with each other, but I don't think that they're good together.
Mhm. Um yeah, I have thoughts. I definitely have thoughts and I have questions about Jax himself and
Mm-hmm.
kind of whether he reached out to be on the show or whether Love Island seeked him out and then that would then lead to like maybe his intentions for being on the show. But I definitely have questions. We'll dive deeper in a sec, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and it's very shady. I agree with you on that, but
Mhm.
that's the tea on that for now for rankings anyway. Next we have I'm calling this liquid just because of the way we know how our girl Ekansu acts, bruh. Ekansu and Davide, they're
Mhm.
I don't know what is there. I definitely think it's like there's just sexual energy, and may I say I have never felt more uncomfortable with two people showing such a public display of affection, fully mic'd up, like leech smooching, slurping, ASMR, whatever,
Yeah.
on that couch that night.
Yeah,
I like can't handle it.
I don't see it for them. I don't.
I don't see it for them either. Not even liquid. Let's put them in the air category. They're just together to be together, but
Yeah.
there's gonna be a quick gust of air, and Ekansu is gonna leave Davide so quick.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
if this is
that
how we're
was
ranking our peeps this week, then I would say
yeah,
Gemma and Luca are air as well. Like what is happening with them?
absolutely does
Why are
not
they
make
coupled up?
sense. I don't know, and I honestly feel really bad. You know what? I will say something to you, Val, and I
Mm.
think this is groundbreaking. This is revolutionary for me.
Mhm.
I am now Team Luca. I am now Team Luca.
I'm falling.
I want
Meanwhile,
him. I want him to fall in love. I want someone to treat him right and for him to treat
yeah.
someone right. He's definitely giving me Joe vibes from season 5 when Lucy and Tommy were like on a
Okay,
date.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
But
was going to
I feel
say
for him.
I'm kind of falling off the Luca bandwagon a little bit. And I can very easily come back. I can very easily come back. But I just don't ow. I just hit my elbow. Anyways, I
Oh, are
just
you
don't like
okay?
how desperate he's kind of acting or how easily the state of this relationship is kind of affecting him for them only being coupled up like 3 days, 4 days. I'm just like it's a little much. And I thought the same thing with Joe. I honestly, once Joe left the villa and I saw a different side of him, I really liked Joe. And I never liked Lucy, but
Hmm.
I didn't like Joe when he was on the show because I just felt like he was doing too much way too early. And I feel like it's given the same thing. Where like so far every guy that has come in has been wanting Gemma and he kind of has to fend them off. And in fending them off, he's coming off a little too desperate.
All right. So we can dive into our states of matter couples in order of the states of matter. So to begin with our solids, Dami and Amber. Let's hear it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they had a really lovely date. They're kind of, listen, I don't want to call them the strongest couple anymore, okay? Because
Why?
I'm starting to see what you saw in Amber a week ago. And
Right? I told you.
yeah,
Like there is something like
I am. There's something
mm,
missing in this dynamic. And I think it's on Amber's end, but they are still like the most stable couple. I think that the producers haven't sent anybody in to shake them up yet. And maybe one of the bombshells that has come in, maybe both of them will be interested in Amber and kind of drive a wedge between them. But it doesn't really seem so just from the trailers for tomorrow's episode. So I think that they're just like, I think she specifically is very comfortable in this pairing, and she's not worried about her position in the villa, which I'm sure is something that's like useful and beneficial to her. And she's not in danger, and they haven't really like made it exclusive yet. So she's still in a point where like if anyone did come in that she wanted to get to know, that they haven't said that they were exclusive, so she would get to know them. But she did state that with everyone in the villa, she's only open to Dami. But she says that, and I just feel like she's kind of giving nothing. Like all it feels so playground to like talk about like people who kissed and people who didn't kiss. But I feel like when he goes in for the kiss with her, which he's done multiple times, she just kind of gives him pecks, and she never initiates the kiss particularly, and he's the one who's putting in all this effort. And I just, I'm all for the woman being treated like a queen, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe his love and adoration would be maybe more appreciated by someone else. Especially cuz he's such a catch.
I see what you mean. And yeah, like thank you. Welcome to my point of view. I'm so happy that you agree with me now because last week I was like, what do you mean you don't see it? Like she is a
Yeah.
robot. Like nothing, like there's no like the only good thing that she has in the villa that's a redeeming factor is her relationship with the girls, particularly
Mhm.
India. And we see this because today when India was talking, or maybe that was yesterday, when India was talking to Amber, talking more about like, oh, I'm just not sure. He's not really trying as much, and I don't know what to do. And later, we see a conversation between Amber and Akenna, and she's telling him like, oh, maybe you should try to like put an effort more. Like, I feel like Akenna now needs to get the tea from Dami and tell Amber what to do.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
true.
just it's strange, but I just don't know. And I definitely think the shyness has something to do with it. She's very, PDA averse. Like she's very shy. Even when they kissed and some
Mhm.
people saw them and, Andrew like hooped and hollered, that she was so embarrassed. So maybe
Mhm.
this is just something like you said last week where it's going to come with time. But I don't know. Like they've been on that date. That date should have been the clear indicator of how she was feeling so far. And maybe she's just somebody that takes time to open up, but I agree. Dami, 10 out of 10 man, 12 out of 10 man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
great personality. And I really think that she needs to kind of step up her game because if there's
Yeah.
more bombshells or if there's a twin of hers that's coming, like Dami might deviate his eye and that might not be so good for them. But for
It's
now, though,
true.
for now, I mean, they're strong ish.
Mhm.
They're the strongest out of the entire villa, at least. Like people know that they're
Yeah.
good to go. I'm a little surprised that they didn't get chosen to go into the hideaway, to be
Well,
honest.
so I think this has to do with who we think is the strongest, and I
Yeah.
don't think that Tasha and Andrew have longevity. But what I do think they have is more chemistry on both sides.
Hmm.
And so when they announced that Andrew and Tasha should be going into the hideaway, I was initially shocked, but I wasn't like super shocked. Um I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like maybe the Islanders kind of knew that Amber's shy and wouldn't want to go into the villa, or maybe they see
Hmm.
that Andrew and Tasha have something more between them that maybe Dami and Amber are lacking. And that might come out maybe if Dami or Amber, either of them, meet somebody they like more. We'll maybe hear
Right.
that from the Islanders where they're like, yeah, like you guys are strong, but could you be happier? you know? Because I do think it's interesting they didn't volunteer them.
Maybe it's because they went on a date. Now that I'm thinking about it, so like they already had like that time. But the whole, do you remember the interaction where Sue and Tasha were both like, "Oh my god, I'm so horny," like, and I'm so stressed out about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, definitely, that's probably what it is. Andrew and Tasha. You know what? They're There's something I definitely respect Andrew a lot more after the fact that he didn't say a word after the hideaway, and they definitely did bits in there.
Yeah. Oh, they did. Oh, they did for sure. Oh my god, that
Like,
bed. It was giving Ellie Belly falling off the side of the bed when Molly and Tommy were like, having the intimates.
I I can't. Like, first of all, like, I might just, who's gonna win a fight, Ellie Belly or Flat Ted? Sound off in the comments below. Like, we don't know who's gonna win, but, and the fact, who brought it over? Jax brought over Flat
No, no,
Ted.
no.
Like, are
Luca
you
did.
okay?
Luca
Luca.
did.
Oh, okay. Luca brought him, and I just, oh my god, I died. But Andrew and Tasha, I'm glad that they have that chemistry together, and I'm glad that Tasha kind of came back because we saw her starting to get the ick a little bit because she was just not into
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's prudeness, let's say that. Because as soon as he started showing like desire for her, then she started being a lot
I
more
don't think
receptive to
that's
that.
when she got the ick, though. So we've had two instances where Tasha has kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. Okay, so we had the
She has
instance
commitment
when
issues.
she definitely does. She definitely does.
Yeah.
So the first time she pumped the brakes was when Andrew lied to Luca about
Yes.
having said, about whether or not Tasha was in his top three or not. And that was a completely
Yep.
like valid moment to like be like, I'm pumping the brakes on this. But something else we also have to get into, another instance where she pumped the brake, was when Luca asked Andrew if it bothered him that Jax was talking to Tasha.
Hmm.
And Andrew was like, I don't care. And Luca was committed to making it like a bigger thing than it was. He was like, of course you care, of course you care. Which, like, in my
Hmm.
eyes, I felt like that was just him projecting because, of course, he cares that Jax is going around
Hmm.
and talking to the girls in the villa. And
Right.
Andrew kind of like walked away from the situation when Luca said, well, obviously you don't care about her that much if you don't care. And he was like, all right, mate, like fuck you. Like I'm done with this. And then
The
Amber kind of went
gaslight
to
girl boss gatekeep.
right. Amber went to go get Tasha and be like, by the way, Andrew said he didn't care, which I did, we haven't seen that many sides to Amber. Like we said, she's kind of still really holding back. But that side, I was like, girl, I get that you're trying to girl code this, but it's not the right situation. You kind of didn't listen to what he had to say. So Andrew had to go and
Right.
interject and be like, that's not what I said. I said, I don't care because I trust you and because you guys aren't having the I want to get to know you better conversation. You're just talking. If you wanted to get to know him in a more romantic setting, then I would care. And Tasha was like, yeah, I totally understand. That being said, I need to pump the brakes. I was like, what? I was like, huh?
Yeah. So
I felt,
anytime like anything gets serious, she like completely is about to bounce, which is very strange.
yeah,
Not
anytime there's like a
surprised.
little bump in the road or maybe like a little thing that she doesn't like, she's just like, okay, I'm all the way off. And the next day, she's all the way
Yep.
on. And she was all the way on with Andrew in the last episode. They were very
Yep.
physical, they were very touchy, they were very flirty. She liked that he was being so, like, whatever, sexy, I guess. But at the same time,
Hmm.
she said she was horny. So I feel like a lot of, I don't
Yeah.
know if a lot of that came from just her being like horny and just wanting to get it on, and like she has an attraction to him. But I still think that the status of this relationship is so up and down, and it's up and down on Tasha's end because Andrew is committed to Tasha, and Tasha's like, 1 second I like you, 1 second I'm pumping the brakes, the next day I'm crying because I'm
Yeah.
being vulnerable, the next day I'm pumping the brakes, the next day I'm horny as hell, and we're good and we're doing bits, and who's to say that in a few days she won't pump the brakes again.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're like semi solid. Like the days that
Mhm.
are good, but the instances that are not so good, it really kind of puts a I like completely lost the word. I'm thinking of when you put like a lever between two gears and the gears stop working. Again, I don't know why I'm like so sciencey today. Like, what's wrong with me? Anyway, I'm like talking about like nuclear physics, like
You
nuclear
literally
physics for some
are.
reason on this podcast. Like, I don't know what's happening. Anyway, I definitely agree with that, and it will be like you can see how excited she was when the two bombshells came in too. She's like, "Oh my god, how did you guys get in here?" And she's like fixing her dress.
100%.
So
a hundred
I
percent.
we'll see how that goes, but
Yeah.
speaking of another semi-solid couple, though, we also have India and Akena, who are still not fully set. Like we've
I
got
would disagree that they're
the bit
solid.
ups and downs. Like they're like semi.
mm,
Like they've got a connection. I definitely think they have a connection and they're
mm,
exploring it. They're just not rolling it out in the way that we would think that these things would roll out because they're both hesitant to have any sort of crazy deep conversation, but I feel like that's okay. It's still early days. It's okay that they're, navigating things. I thought the kiss was cute. I definitely love the breakfast thing in the morning. That was very sweet. And he's been, vocal, more vocal than we had thought he was going to be about her. And that's just really nice to see.
I think it's friends. I think it's just friends. And I think that they can be solid as friends, but I don't think that they're solid in a relationship. And I was hoping that the kiss and the breakfast would be the turnaround for him to be like, okay, like yes, I'm giving it my all. I'm really liking her, and for her to like feel that on her end. But I just don't think that their love languages match at all. And even if he is doing all these things like the breakfast and some talking, not that much talking, in my opinion, it's still not communicating to India that he likes her. And that much is clear in today's episode where she was like, I think I'm going to have a talk with him to like figure this out once and for all, because I still don't feel like I'm getting anything from him. So it's kind of like he's going through the emotions and he's kind of like, okay, like in order for me to keep this girl, to get this girl to feel secure, I have to do these things. But every time she's had to ask and she's had to prod, and Amber has had to tell him. And I just think that, like, I think he's doing it because he cares about her and he doesn't want her to feel bad, but I don't think he's doing it because he likes her romantically. And to be honest, I don't really think India likes him romantically either, only for the fact because she wants somebody who's more passionate and out there with their feelings.
Yeah, I definitely see the latter part of what you said, but I don't agree with like people do things like he doesn't have to make her breakfast.
Well,
He
he
doesn't have
does
to
if
make
he
her
wants to be
tea.
safe in the villa.
No, he doesn't have to do that. Like it's just I feel like you do these things because you at least a part of you wants to, and I definitely think his heart is in it for the right reasons. Like you people don't know how to love you. You kind of have to show them slash tell them how to love you, right? So I feel like in the
Mm-hmm.
way that we're learning more about India and how she wants to be loved, like that's his journey as well along with us.
I get
The
that,
only reason
but
why the only reason why I'm arguing with you on this is
mm-hmm.
because in the unseen bits episode, I don't know if you saw all their interactions
I
there,
saw
but
all of
I
their
definitely
interactions.
think that there is something budding. It's very like soft. I do think the friendship thing is there for sure, but he even mentioned that, hey, I'm looking for somebody that I can be friends with first. So maybe this is him in his initial phases of, scouting out India and their connection. And who knows, maybe in a couple days or maybe next week, or well, even now that we have two male bombshells, he's probably going to start grafting a lot harder. And it'll be nice to see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what I said before. I have to reiterate it. I don't think he's a
Hmm.
bad guy, and I don't think that how he's going about the situation is particularly wrong. I just don't think that their love language matches. And I don't think
Hmm.
that they're suited for each other. And yeah,
I agree with the love languages part.
yeah. It's just reminding me a lot of Toby and Kaz, where it's like, okay, yeah, does he like her? Of course. Does he care about her? Of course. But what ended up being there was more friendship than romance. And when he was finally, exactly, but and Kenna doesn't have that energy, but their dynamic kind of has that energy. And when Toby finally settled with someone, we saw a really sweet and genuine side of him that did things for Chloe because he wanted to, not because he was told to. Because we also saw him struggle with Kaz to kiss her first and to make her feel liked and to compliment her and to do nice things for her. But once him and Chloe were settled, it came naturally to him.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about it that way. I think for me though, I'm such a hopeless romantic that like
Yeah.
I just I just see something there. You know what? A girl loves love. I love love. So maybe I still have hope for them. I think that, TBD on that. But what I was
Okay,
going to
TBD.
say is speaking of matching love languages,
Mm.
we all know Ekansu and Davide have that physical touch
Oh,
love language going on.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. 100%.
Like them
100%.
kissing is literally like this.
Oh, God.
Like the
I'll kill
producers and their
you.
mics. That's literally how they're kissing. Like two leeches on some juicy leg. Like I can't get over it. They definitely both have physical touch and acts of service. They
Mm.
both have the same thing, but neither wants to do the acts of service for the other because they're expecting it from the other, which
Yep.
I find is hilarious. Like the whole tea in the mornings, the whole breakfast in the morning. Even Davide said, "Oh, I usually take over for lunch and dinner," which means slight implication there. He's implying that he wants to be served breakfast, and in exchange, he would make lunch and dinner.
Which is interesting because I'm pretty sure they get catered lunch and dinner.
I know, which is
So,
really funny. So I'm like, I don't know what's happening there, but again, it's just and Davide has a little bit of quality time because he really likes
mhm.
somebody that's in the gym with him. Like I don't know if you remember, but he asked Gemma to go to the gym with him in the morning and she's like, "Oh no, like I don't want that." Like she was so, she's already not a morning person and he looked so sad walking back to the gym
Yeah.
alone. Like this is a
Yeah.
man who like I don't know. So Ekin-Su and him get along well, but it's definitely the effort bit that I'm curious to see how that rolls out. But we left off with
Yeah.
Ekin-Su being like, "Fuck it, I'm going for the other the investment analyst finance Italian." And when she was like, "Oh, I worked in finance too," I was like, "Oh my god!" Like Davide and her are over.
Yeah, I they are interesting. What I have to say though is
Hmm.
I like Davide more when he's on his toes because right now I feel like both Ekansu and Davide know that they're hot shit.
Yep.
And neither of them I think is used to being the one who chases.
Yeah.
They both like to be chased. But I like Davide more when he's like humbled and he's like joking. I think in the last 3 episodes we've seen Davide come out of his shell a little bit more. I was dying laughing when he brought Ekansu and Jack snacks. He was like, "I'm not threatened. I don't," and he like made a joke about the "I don't care" fight. He was like, "I don't care. I don't care." But I like them both better outside of this pairing. I think they have funny banter together, but as a romantic pairing, like when they settle a little bit, they're a little boring. But once they kind of like have more chaos going on, they're both just much more entertaining. And I think they're better
Yeah,
left to their
I
own
agree.
devices. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the last thing that I have to say though is it seems like from the get-go, we know that Davide doesn't want to be just known for his body, and I think when she's
Yes.
all over him like that, he like gets a little turned off. He's like, "You know what? I'm more than just my sexy, what is it, like Greek god body. Like I
Right.
have feelings." And so cuz when he was, talking to the boys, he was like, "Yeah, like her hands were all over me. Like they were just all over me this morning." Like you could see he didn't like that. Like he wants to be
Yeah.
known more. Like he wants to not just be a sex pot, and like that makes sense. It's sweet. But yeah,
Okay.
I agree, they're both
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, what's up?
Oh, I was just gonna make a crazy, maybe bold claim that I
Ooh, let me hear it.
actually think Paige and Davide might be a better match out of everyone in this villa. Okay. I know
Oh,
you're
okay,
confused.
okay, let me hear this.
Let me
Let me hear
elaborate.
this, and then we can move on to Jackson Page.
I feel like she has made it very clear that she's a hopeless romantic. And that once
Mm-hmm.
she's like a girlfriend, she's a really good girlfriend. And I think that at his core, that's what Davida wants. He wants somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's like very besotted with him, who's very nurturing, who's very sweet. I don't think that he wants this like bombshell girl who's like sexy and she
Mm-hmm.
knows it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't think that that's like what he's looking for long term or end game. And I feel like now having seen this more cheeky side of him, like it would be interesting to see that how their humor would blend. I feel like Paige is also very sweet. She wouldn't just talk to him about like his looks and his body. Like we've seen her
Mm-hmm.
when she's flirting with other people, and she's very like open and has like conversations about getting to know them, and she's not just somebody who like flatters the appearance. So I don't know. I'm like I did see After Sun, a little snippet of After Sun, and I heard one of the hosts said this, and I was like, I kind of see what they're saying, and they didn't have a chance to explain. But for whatever reason, I just truly took that to heart, and I was like, girl, I see you and I get you, and I kind of want that to happen.
I think it would be interesting to see as well. I hadn't even thought about it just because sometimes we just get tunnel vision within the couples that are together that we don't really think about any other options aside from the
Mm-hmm.
new ones who are coming in, the new people that are coming in. I think that Paige and Davide would be a really nice pairing, but I definitely don't think that Paige and Davide have anything in common. You don't see her in the gym. Also, I think she's very like I know that she would match his energy, but we just don't really know what that would look like. But that is a great theory. I would love to see them interact more, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe there might be like more interactions between them both coming in soon. But they do definitely have potential. Now that I think
Right.
about it, that's a good one. All right, so Jackson Page. Speaking of people that do not have potential, not
Not
going the
1 ounce.
distance. They don't. There's nothing there. There's definitely friendship there if Jax doesn't, go too down on her, like with regard
If,
to letting her down in a mean way.
if he doesn't go down on,
Yes.
I was like, I don't know. Maybe they'll have potential if he goes down on her.
Yeah, no, I was like, clearly I'm like thinking of something, but anyway. No, I'm just kidding. Um, yeah, there's nothing there. They're really a boring couple. I'm not excited about them. There's nothing there. The most exciting thing is that Jax has just been driving Luca insane. Luca and
Oh,
Gemma,
yeah.
like, they don't make sense. They shouldn't make sense. She is so mean to him because she clearly does not like him. And can we talk about the fact that she called Luca Jax goodbye?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, oh,
horrible.
okay. I have questions, and I said this at the top of the episode, but we can
Mm-hmm.
get into them now before we get
Yes.
more into specifically Gemma and Luca. I am curious to know if Jax was the one to apply for the show once he found out maybe that Gemma was going to be on, or if Love Island reached out to him to stir the drama, because he is driving Luca absolutely crazy, but in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't actually care about ruining their relationship. Like, he's not actually in there causing a stir, being like, I miss you, baby. I
Yeah.
whatever, like all this stuff. Like, we were so cute together. Like, it was just kind of like for the first day that he did that, where he kind of joked about the relationship and hinted about it. But since then, it's just kind of been like, yeah, whatever. And when Gemma called Jack, nope, when Gemma called Luca, okay, now I'm doing it. When Gemma called Luca Jax, he was just like, yeah, he's mad, but you just have to apologize and whatever. He wasn't like, damn girl, why'd you say my name? Like, you must really miss me, because that would have been a perfect opportunity. So it kind of makes me think that Love Island is the one who recruited him, and
Hmm.
he was like, fuck it, why not? Like, there's nothing between me and Gemma, so might as well go on for the initial stir, and just, it is what it is. And maybe that's why they're bringing on, it's been rumored that they're bringing on another one of Gemma's ex.
Right.
And
Hmm.
maybe that's why they're doing it, because this didn't pan out the way they wanted it to. um but yeah, I'm shocked that he hasn't caused more of a stir in Gemma, but Luca is very threatened by him.
Luca is losing it, and I feel for the guy. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely think that it can be tough when you have your heart on your sleeve, but it's to the point where it's getting a little toxic, which I think is very questionable. I mean,
Mm.
he clearly says to Gemma, like, "Oh, you call me your ex, and then now you're walking out of the villa, like, with him, like, back into towards the fire pit. You're walking out with him." But that insecurity, right there, is something that I think is kind of a red flag. I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get why it happened, and honestly, if I was in his shoes, I'd feel the same way. But it's tough. I think a conversation between Jax and Luca might help him air that out a little bit more. But the whole fact that he's threatened, I think, is what's turning Gemma away from him. And then Gemma's
Yeah.
reaction towards being turned away is being like very rude. We talked about this a little bit. It's part of her personality. She's very direct and a little bit crass, but
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's not fair to, try to, or not try, but like belittle somebody in front of, like, when they're trying to express their emotions. And the fact that she called him a prick and all this other stuff, I was like, oh my god, like, okay, girl,
Well,
like,
he did roll his eyes at her. I mean, she went in
that's
hot.
fine, like, okay, yeah, she went in hot, like,
She went in okay. She went in a little. I We disagree about Gemma, and we're just gonna have to disagree. I think I'm just more of a crass person, so when I see it in someone else, I kind of am like, all right, like, they're just getting straight to business. Like, she went over there to apologize to him straight up, no excuses, just, it was purely a mistake. And I really don't think that it went deeper than it being a mistake, because she hasn't shown any interest in Jax.
yeah, I do think it was a mistake. I just think the way that she rolled out, like, she doesn't have any softness,
Tact.
like the
Oh
emotional
yeah.
intelligence there. Like, she has no bedside manner, and that's what I don't like if you make a big
I
mistake like
Yeah.
that and who you're with is sensitive, like, you gotta kind of, be
But
sensitive
I
back
don't
and make sure that
think
they feel seen.
I don't think that he's I think sensitive is the wrong word. I think Luca has a lot of pride. And I think that in that moment, when she called him the wrong name, it hurt his pride. And I do think
Mm,
that her apology could have been a little softer, but
yeah.
he just kind of was like, oh, you came out of the villa with him, and oh, like, and just like kind of sees everything she's doing as like malicious. And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, well, if you're gonna just see everything she's doing as malicious, then like, I don't get why you're with her then. Like, I don't get what you like about her. And then in turn, I don't understand what you want her to do, like what you want from her. Cause,
No, but every time he's shown affection, she doesn't return it. She's very
well, yeah,
cold.
that's a
She's very
separate thing.
standoffish.
That's a separate thing
Like
though.
just
In a
nothing works about them. Like that's what you and I are agreeing about. Nothing
yeah,
works.
I agree that they're like, again, their love language is not the same. I don't think that there's
Hmm.
anything there deeper than the physical 100%. I just think that in that argument, he was very ready to turn it into like an argument. And she was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I can't, like, don't roll your eyes at me because I don't even want to fight with you. And I, again, I think it was crass the way she went about it, but I think he also assumed a tone from her that wasn't as strong as he made it to seem. And he kind of was the one who wanted to blow it up into a fight. And then when she called him out for that, he was like, I don't want to fight. Just sit down. I'm like, oh, I hate that. I hate that so much because it's like, if you're spinning around my words and twisting them and then you tell me you don't want to fight, you're a liar and you're not listening to me and
Yeah.
you just want to be right in this situation. And he was right in the situation. He just made himself look, not look bad, but like, he didn't help his case. It's like, if you're the one in the right, then you don't have to like tout it around and like be shitty about it. Just have a regular conversation.
I just think everybody shows up differently when they're hurt, and I definitely think that that's how I would feel. Like I definitely would be like not in the mood, and then
Yeah.
I guess just wanting to sweep it under the rug. But that's another thing. Like that's what's so toxic about their relationship is that they need to have these kind of fights and disagreements in order to see if they can work things out. But instead they
Mm-hmm.
sweep it under the rug and then they like cuddle like, oh no, we're okay, we're okay. And
Yeah.
that's what is just not a good thing. And I really don't think that they're gonna last. If they do last, then they need to send in a bombshell for Luca or something because Gemma is definitely not the right person for him and he's not the right person for her either. So
Yeah, they're
um
very mismatched.
yeah, speaking of which though, I put a poll on our Twitter
Okay.
for
Oh, yes.
people to vote on whose teeth were the whitest this last episode. And by a whopping 71%, our followers decided that Luca's teeth are definitely whiter than Gemma's, but 29% did say Gemma's were brighter. So,
I do
very
think
rip
Luca's are
there.
whiter as well. I'll put in my vote. His
I
teeth
do
are
think so
whiter.
too.
For sure.
But all right. With that being said, though, we have discussed all of our couples. We've got two bombshells. We've got
Mm-hmm.
Remy, we've got Jay. Before we even get into any of them, you need to
Mm.
see this video that the British public found of Remy in the
Yes.
streets. You need to see that. I cried of laughter and I just in purple Tim's.
Okay. What is he? Is he just street dancing? Is this for TikTok?
No, he's just dancing in the street, girl.
But
And then watch this move. Watch this move.
oh god. Oh. Okay. Okay. Enough of that. That is quite
and
cringe.
Toby was like, "We need to keep this man on until the talent show."
Oh, 100%. 100%. Okay, so I thought you were going to show me the video of him rapping, but I also did hear
No,
about this
there's a
video.
video of him rapping.
He like
Stop.
compared himself to Ovi. He was like, she likes me because I look like Ovi. And then I think he like insinuated that he's like better than Ovi. But
Okay, no one's better than Ovi, first of
right.
all.
I'm like, oh babes, please. Please. Come on.
Yeah.
Um, but the flow of the rap was not a vibe, I don't think. It was also very cringe. The lyrics were cringe. That video was cringe. Um,
I But here's the thing, like the fact that you get on Love Island, you don't even know that people have found these videos of you and they're now
Oh no.
circulating like this. It's the funniest thing. So yeah, I just had to show you about that because I just had to show you this video. I was just dying of laughter. I wasn't expecting to see it, and also
Mm.
the fact that he's wearing a full purple fit and wearing Tim's in England. Goodbye. Somebody said he looks like a UK Teletubby, Tinky Winky. Like
That's so true. I do not like that like shade of purple. I feel like it's kind of like an ick for me. Like royal purple is just no, no,
I
no, 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 no.
I
Absolutely
just
not.
wasn't expecting it. Like his concept, the idea of a bombshell is like ruined for me. I like can't look at him like that anymore because it's
I
just
know.
I
Now
saw
I'm
this
like,
video.
I'm supposed to think this man is sexy.
But
Yeah. Any predictions?
yeah, Ekin-Su's gonna upgrade Italians, so she's gonna go for Jay, and I think he's probably gonna pick her back. Uncertain about who they want at this time. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. The account handler for India and the account handler for Ikenna are both saying that Ikenna needs to step stuff up because they think that Remy's going to go for India. So that'll be interesting to see.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I feel like when people hear that there's a finance bro around, they know that he's got money of some sort, and the fact that he's like, what is he, like an investment analyst or something, or something about investments and finance?
Don't
Like
know, don't
this man
care.
has money. This man has money. I'm here for it. And the fact, oh my goodness, wait, I forgot the most important part. The fact
Uh,
that Jax was looking like a high school quarterback during the party when the bombshells came in. Like, who is dressing this man? Like, he needs a
I
stylist in there
don't know.
ASAP. Like, eBay Dua Lipa stylist, like they are doing him dirty, putting him in these
No, you
clothes
know what?
because last episode looked like a boy band member. Like, what?
I don't think he should get a stylist. I think that they should, get their new clothes from the stylist, whatever. But I feel like if I like started seeing somebody, like let's say it was me in Love Island, okay? And I started seeing a guy and he was dressing really well, okay? Because the stylist. And then we left and he had awful like taste in clothing. I would want to know that, okay? So I don't want like anything about like that situation to be muddied by a stylist. Like if you dress like shit, then you dress like shit. Like that needs to be on the table.
Okay, all right, that's fair. I just hate this man's outfits. I can't get over
I
it.
don't
It's
like them
just the
either.
funniest. Like, he looks so stupid wearing his
100%.
outfit some nights that I'm like, why? Like, didn't Gemma teach you anything about style? Like, clearly not.
No,
But
not at all. But speaking of
that
Jax,
killed me.
the
Yes.
trailer for tomorrow's episode shows um Jay, I believe, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
ragging on Jax, which I'm like intrigued by because he's like he calls him small for
Mm-hmm.
a rugby player,
Rugby
and Jack's
player.
like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not small. I'm not. I'll show you, which I think is interesting because then in the same trailer, he like references Ekin-Su's quote of not wanting to make seasonal mates. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so clearly he's keeping tabs on Ekin-Su, like he wants to stick it onto Ekin-Su, but also him like kind of antagonizing Jax. Does that mean that he's gonna stick it on Paige? Or was just that out of
Right.
the blue? I don't know. I don't even know if he knows that Jax is paired up with Paige yet because um, they can only keep up with the episodes that have already come out. So
Right.
maybe that quote of Ekin-Su is kind of like one of the last episodes he saw before getting put into the island. Who knows?
Who knows, but I am here for it. I'm excited to see the drama unfold this week and to see what you and I are going to have to talk about later this week for our next episode on Saturday. I'm super excited. Um,
Yes.
Val, do you want to take us out with all of our socials one more time if the people still don't know?
Guys, if you weren't paying attention, I have to remind you Twitter, Villabirds Pod, Instagram, Villabirds, TikTok, Villabirds. Very easy to remember, okay? follow us there. I feel like I already went in depth at the top of this episode, but you have to follow us,
Yep.
okay? We
Yep.
are dropping content nonstop. We're so active, and we want to hear what you say. We love doing the podcast and we love talking to each other, but we want to talk to y'all. So please go ahead and fucking respond to our tweets or comment, and like we will respond. Like, we love to have discussion about the show. Also, guys, we are officially on Apple Podcasts, and we're on Spotify, and we're on Red Circle. And I can say with certainty that you can leave a review on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So please, please go there. And if you're listening to the show, please give us a good rating and leave us a review. We'd super appreciate it. And that's all for me.
And for our Red Circle viewers, please also leave us a review. People on Amazon Music, leave us a review.
We're
People
on
on
Amazon Music.
iHeartRadio.
We're on
People on
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio, leave us a review. Yeah, I've been working overtime, girl. I'm making sure we're getting out there.
Okay.
So we've got some really exciting viewerships. We have had listeners in Australia. We've had listeners in England. We've got a pretty good reach so far. Our
Yes.
Twitter is popping. We love engaging with you guys on Instagram. And yeah, we're just here to talk about the show, here to talk about what we love, and here to, rag on all of our Islanders and also support them wholeheartedly. So if you like listening to us, stick with us. It's going to be a fun summer.
Yay!
Summer of love.
Yes, bitch.
All right. Girl, with that, thank you.
And goodbye.
And goodbye. Peace.
Peace.